Hi everyone, my name is Christy and welcome to day 1041 of trying a new makeup product every day. Today I am so excited to try out another awesome Dollar Tree find. This is from e.l.f. It's the Golden Goddess Flawless Eyeshadow. I love finding e.l.f. at the Dollar Tree, so this only cost me $1. I actually was able to find this palette in a different shade as well. But I'm gonna go with this one here. This one's so pretty. You get 4 shades. e.l.f. is cruelty free. And so it does come with the little applicator, and there's a little mirror behind the applicator here. But it also says, I know it's kind of hard to see on camera, but it says base, lid, crease, line. So it also has on the back of it instructions on how to apply the eyeshadow. And I have actually learned eyeshadow techniques that I still use to this day from the dollar store eyeshadow palettes that guide you in how to apply them. And I think that is so awesome. So maybe this is for someone that's just getting into makeup. It can help them learn how to apply eyeshadow, practice eyeshadow for only $1. I'm so excited about that. I love trying out Dollar Tree makeup products. A lot of my favorite makeup products are from the Dollar Tree because you can find amazing products there. But also, I'm past 1,000 days of trying a new makeup product, so I have tried out a lot of eyeshadows. And I'm very honest in my reviews, so I can let you know how these eyeshadows compare to a wide range of price points, brands, different types of eyeshadows. So I'm very excited to see how this compares. Whenever I try out an eyeshadow palette, I try it out with and without an eyeshadow primer. And the eyeshadow primer that I use is the Zoeva Matte Eyeshadow Fix. So this is not that expensive. I think it's around $10 to $15. And you can see I only take the tiniest little dollop. So this eyeshadow primer can last me so long. And if this eyeshadow primer can make a big difference in how these inexpensive eyeshadows perform, then I think it could be totally worth it, because I have seen some crazy differences in how eyeshadows perform with and without an eyeshadow primer. Actually, Tarte eyeshadows are one brand of eyeshadow in particular where they perform so differently and so much better with a primer. It's crazy. You wouldn't really expect that from Tarte because it's kind of like a higher end brand, but then there's other brands where they're just good eyeshadows and it doesn't make a difference with and without a primer. But so I just apply that all over the eyelid, and then let's follow the instructions. It says apply the base color all over the eyelid up to the brow bone. So, you know what? I actually kind of want to swatch each shade because I'm very curious. It kind of looks like there is some shimmer or metallic. Oh no, I'm kind of rubbing off where it says base, lid, crease, line. No, I'm gonna forget. But so let's do some swatches. Oh, so that brown is matte. This gold is like metallic. The matte actually swatched a lot better. Ooh, this one's like a shimmer. That swatch is decent. And then another kind of metallic. So, I don't know, it kind of looks like there's gold to that brown as well. So definitely these swatches are not very impressive. They're not super pigmented. They're not very buttery. They're a little bit chunky, uneven. So here are what those swatches look like. But so back to it. I was gonna try and use this applicator, but I just know these applicators are difficult to work with except for doing the liner. They're pretty good for that. I'm just gonna take a fluffier eyeshadow brush, but honestly, some of my favorite eyeshadow brushes are from the Dollar Tree. They're the Wet n Wild brand, which look like this one here. The rest of mine are being washed, but it's white and then there's a little pink on the tip of the brushes, but these are great from the Dollar Tree. But so I'm picking up the base shade. Oh my gosh, so much fallout, very dusty formula. But so I'm just applying this all over the lid. This is a good technique that I like to do anyways, to set the lid with the lightest shade. Usually I do a matte shade. This one has a little bit of shimmer, so I am working this, like it says, all the way up to the brow bone to try and get that brow highlight. But really this doesn't actually show with much shimmer at all. It barely is showing up on my lid. You can't really see any sparkle, any reflection, any sheen. So this shade is not really impressing me at all. It doesn't work as a highlighter for that brow bone. And it definitely does leave like a powdery, dry texture on the skin. But let's hope the other shades look better on top of this. Next, it says sweep lid shade over eyelid. So I am actually going to use my finger. So this is the lid shade here, goes in order. Definitely a very chalky formula, but in order to get as much pigment as possible, I am going to apply it with my finger all over the lid, and it's definitely showing up as I'm applying it with my finger. This, just my personal taste, is not my favorite shade to wear all over my lid. It's kind of like too mustardy yellow for me rather than gold. But we'll see how the whole eye look comes together. This one I feel like is not too bad. It's got decent pigment. It doesn't have that much metallic sheen, but I also wouldn't say it's completely matte either. So it kind of has an in-between finish to it. And I'm applying a lot, like it takes a lot of shadow for it to show up. And this right here is the eye without the primer, and it definitely has less pigment compared to this eye, and it's not sticking on my eyelid as well. Like it's kind of rubbing away if I rub at it too much, which is really weird. I feel like I've never had that happen with an eyeshadow before, where you apply it and you can just kind of rub it off. So far it looks a lot better with the primer. But now let's move on to the next step. Next, apply crease color in the crease of the eye where the lid meets the brow bone. So usually when I'm doing my eyeshadow, I do the crease shade before the lid shade. So I'm interested to see how this technique is going to work. So I'm going in with my fluffy brush again, and let's see how this does. I really had never thought to do the crease shade after the lid shade, but now that I'm doing it, it kind of makes sense. I guess it depends just which color you want to have prominence. And usually my crease shade is more of that background shade. But now, since I'm putting the crease shade on top of kind of the lid shade, I feel like it's bringing that orange more to the front. And this is a decent crease shade. I feel like it's working well. It's pretty easy to blend, pretty good pigment. Once again, I'm just not super into the orange in my crease. When I first saw this palette, I thought I really liked the color scheme, but now that I'm seeing the colors on my eyes, it's just not my personal preference. I feel like it's not super wearable. It's kind of more like a statement eyeshadow look with these colors. But using this formula in the crease, I think is good. I feel like the performance of the shadows and the uses of them is getting better with each one I use. But I am just very confused as to why the eyeshadow is just slipping and falling away and just not sticking to the lid without the primer. Like, this is not even because it's a $1 palette. This is just honestly performing badly, and I am bummed about that. I wish this $1 palette was amazing and that you could save your money and just get this eyeshadow palette. But so far, I am not a big fan at all. But let's finish it off with the last step, which is to finish by adding line color around the lash line and outer corner of the eye and blend in the edges. So for this, I am going to use the little applicator here and take the line shade. And I'm going to kind of line. Going to be tough if it doesn't show up with much pigment. Okay. Layering it up kind of works. So line the outer corner of the lash line and the lower lash line. And it says the outer corner. So I definitely think that I need to add some dimension and deepen the color in the outer corner. So just kind of applying this brown to that outer V. But this one is not looking super pigmented at all. I feel like this shade, it helps. It definitely adds a lot to the eyeshadow look. Gives it more of a smoky effect, more of a glam effect. So this eye versus this eye. But I'm just very thrown off by this lid shade. Now it seems like even this eye with the primer, it's like the lid shade has disappeared. I always kind of thought that eyeshadows lasted well on me. Like they would crease because I have a lot of lines in my eyelids, but it's not like by the end of the day, my eyeshadow doesn't have color anymore. But in the few minutes that I've been applying this eyeshadow, it has already disappeared. I don't even know where it went. It just does not last. And that is even with the eyeshadow primer. I don't really feel like I am taking away any techniques from trying out this palette either. It's kind of fun to try the techniques in a different order, but I think I still like my usual eyeshadow techniques better. And so here is the finished look. It's just not good. Like, I don't love the color combination. I definitely don't like the pigment. It kind of looks uneven. Definitely looks chalky. I am definitely bummed because I wanted to love this, but like I said, I'm very honest in my reviews, and I would even tell you, don't even bother spending $1 on this, because I think that you can just get so much better staying power, pigment, colors by just spending a little bit more. You don't even have to spend a lot on an eyeshadow to get it to look good, but you want it to look good. And this just does not look good. So I am so upset about that, but once again, at least I only spent $1 on it because I know that I'm not really gonna get use out of this. The colors just are not good. But oh well. Thank you so much for watching my video today. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel so you can see the makeup that I try every day. And I will see you tomorrow in my next video.